Coucou mes vies, welcome to CKUT 90.3 FM. This show is a part of the Transforming the Airways founding by Radiometers, a residency for trans creative of color to create their own radio show. It's your girl, Miss Dupré, and you are listening, you bet her. And today I have two special guests, not two, but three special guests. Like, oh my God. I have one of my mentor. I can call her mentor because like she's the reason why I'm here today becoming like an activist for BIPOC and this LGBTQIA plus. So please an ovation for Camille Esther. Hello, gorgeous.
Queen.
Oh my God, I'm so happy you made it.
I'm happy to see you. I'm too happy to be here, and thank you so much for invitation.
Thank you for coming.
Merci beaucoup.
You came from Quebec City.
Yeah, it's not that people think that Quebec City is like from Dubai. Like it's 2 hours. That's fine. That's
Yeah.
fine. I'm okay.
But-
I'm used to it, but I'm really glad to be here,
I'm
and I'm
so
here for
happy.
you. So I'm glad for the discussion. I'm really excited for this.
Yes, and also I have one of the gorgeous girl in Montreal. I just met her like a few months ago, and she's pretty and she's so amazing. Victoria, hello.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm pretty good. I'm very happy to be here.
You're pretty good and you're pretty too.
Thank you.
Okay. And I have also, last and not least, like my partner of business. And they are so cute. And this is my amazing Casper. Hello, Mr. Casper.
Hey, how you doing?
How you doing?
I'm good. Oh, sorry, I'm
Okay. He's like, okay.
Listen,
So
it's morning time, okay, for me. So
it's okay, no problem. So we're gonna start with you, Come Esther. Like for the people who doesn't know who is Come Esther, I'm just gonna let you present yourself and tell to the people who you are.
Where do we start? So, my name is Camille Esther. Camille Esther Garon. I'm from Quebec City. My background is Haiti, and I'm adopted in transracial family. And I'm president of Gris Québec. I came for my own. Tu sais, je viens à mon propre nom. But it's a really pleasure to be here. I have a lot of initiative in Quebec City, which is Loud and Proud Quebec City that we did for make a portrait for people of color. I'm also doing a lot of events, and now I'm working as an advisor of city consultant. Well, it is public consultation, conseillère en consultation publique. But I work for Groupe 3737. But outside of the work, because I think it's important to describe ourselves outside, I'm really someone who is for social justice. And I love seeing women of color, seeing people from LGBTQ community stand up for herself, make their own initiative. And it's also creating your own space, because I think this is really important.
Preach.
And my pronouns in she and her.
Amazing. For those one who doesn't know Come Esther, you know, when I just came here in Canada, I was in Quebec City before, and I met her through a common friend, and then you was starting your first like program.
Yeah, it was my first initiative that
Yeah.
I did in the LGBTQ communities, because I found that in Quebec City, there's not a lot of people of color who make a voice, and sometimes we feel alone. And so I decided to do Loud and Proud Quebec City, it was in 2020, it was 7 people of color who make a portrait and explain the reality outside of Montreal. And you know, at the beginning, just une parenthèse, that was something for getting back my coming out, because my first experience was kind of traumatizing, really hurtful. And I was like, okay, I need to réapproprier ma narration, to reappropriate my own voice. So I decided to do this initiative. And I thought at the beginning it was, okay, we're going to do an Instagram page and it's going to be okay. But it exploded. There's so many people after that who called us and say, hey, I have my stories, I have my stuff. So then after that, I started to do some initiative. And then Gris Québec approached me to decide to get there. And then here we are right now. But I couldn't do this activity without you, without so many participants who were there. And I'm really glad we met each other at that time. And it not only was like a great friendship, but a great professional friendship too.
Exactly, definitely, because like you know when you approached me and then you was like, oh, I have something for the Black queer community. Like I just came, I even did my coming out to my family. Like I think that was just the beginning. Like I was literally educating myself about who I am, what I can do for people like me. And then when I did the experience with you Loud and Proud in Quebec, it's open like something in me. I swear, and this is why I was, and it's make me feel so amazing, like just being able to inspire people to talk my story. It was a
It was really interesting because most of the time when we talk about issue of LGBTQ community, I think everything is important, but sometimes we don't pay attention of what's going on outside of Montreal, and so there's different realities. Some cities are really more conservative. Some people also feel alone because they don't have ballroom, they don't have nightclub for LGBTQ, they don't have necessarily safe space. So I feel like doing this initiative make like a statement that we exist in Quebec City, but also it makes also other people to not only come out but just feel good about themselves and creating other stuff. And so it's really happy, and I'm glad that this experience make you feel good and make you feel the woman that you are today.
Definitely.
And I'm really glad also, and I'm really glad to be here. I'm really glad to hear also the reality also of
yes,
other
I'm so
people.
like it means the world that you are here, and thank you so much again. And we're gonna come back to you soon because we have a lot of tea to
We have a
spill.
beautiful lady too, pretty.
Yes, so Victoria, she's like we met what 2 months.
Yeah,
I think it was
it's
in
been
a
a couple months, I think. Where
yes,
was it?
yes, it was like at the
Was it at the ATQ?
yes, it was like the Trans Pride.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it was a couple of
Yeah.
months. So I'm just gonna let you present your
Introduce myself.
yourself with like what you're doing, what is your inspiration. So we're gonna hear everything.
Good. So, I was born and raised in Abitibi, so I'm not from Montreal. I'm from a small region and um, from a very small town called Amos. I moved back in Montreal maybe a year ago, I would say.
Oh.
I have a background actually that's more like legal or administrative. I used to work for the Ministry of Justice for like 2 years. I was a court clerk, so a very nice experience. But for some reason, I needed to leave that job, and I wanted to come back to Montreal. I was thinking about it for a long time, and also I met someone here.
Ooh, okay.
So I came back here a year ago, and I started doing volunteer work for the ATQ, which is the Aide aux Trans du Québec. Um, and at first, so like I said, it was volunteer work. I became an administrator on the board of directors of the organization. And because I knew Marie-Michelle Grenier, who is the president of the board of directors. She's a good friend of mine. So when I said to her that I wanted to be more involved in the trans community in Montreal and in Quebec in general, she right away offered me to do my part at the ATQ, which I really appreciated, and I was really excited. So yeah, I started doing some work for the ATQ. It's pretty recent, I would say in September maybe, and then it's been a month, I would say, approximately, not even a month, that I'm at the executive direction of the organization. So I'm now an employee.
Yes, work.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
thank you,
Congratulations.
thank you.
It's a big step.
It's
Right.
a big step.
So
It's a
congratulations.
yeah, thank you so much. I never thought I would be at the executive direction of an organization like the ATQ, actually. So it's a very big, how do you say, défi.
Yes.
And but I'm really excited about this job and about all the things I see we can do for the ATQ also.
Definitely, and I think like also you bring some fresh air at the ATQ, like definitely, because like we were talking about ATQ, like Aide aux Trans du Québec. there wasn't a lot of things happening. We're gonna develop all of this later, but I'm glad that you take like the throne. So I'm gonna turn to my amazing friend Blxck Cxsper,
Hey.
aka King Rose. Like present yourself.
Oh my god, I never know what to say. So I'm a ghost. No, but so I'm a multidisciplinary artist. So I make music. I'm also into theater, uh, video games, comic books, whatever I can do, I'll do it. And I'm the founder of Transgenders, which is the first record label in the world that's dedicated to trans people. And
Yes.
so that gave me like a bunch of visibility and like, fancy medias. That's what I call them, like Billboard, Grammy, E-Talk, all of that. And yeah, but right now I'm working on a fictional universe called Blxck Cxsper. It's a transmedia universe. I love that it's called that too. But it's basically like a storyline about somebody who used to be a superhero who's now a vigilante fighting against the corruption of superheroes, like basically. And so there's like music, there's a play, there's a video game, there's a comic book, there's a bunch of stuff like in that universe that I'm always trying to like develop it more. So yeah.
Amazing. And also, you work a lot with the community, for the community
Yeah.
also, and you are in charge actually for this here. Can you
Oh
talk
yeah.
about us a little
See,
bit
I
because I
forgot.
think it is important.
See, I told you I like it. Whenever I try to introduce myself, I'm always trying to make it short, but I'm like doing 1,000 things at once.
Right? I mean, we
But
have to.
yeah, so I'm also like the coordinator for the residency that Ms. Dupré is on right now. So the Transforming the Airwaves residency, which is funded by Radio Meters, and it's so residents have 6 weeks, to put together a radio show. So 2 weeks of preparation, and then for a month they have a show per week. And so Ms. Dupré is one of the residents. We've had 2 residents before. We're gonna have 3 more, I think, and hopefully, it's gonna keep getting funded, and we'll have more. But the idea is to help like trans creatives build like, something that's professional that they can then introduce to people and pitch it to get funding and stuff like that. It's not just having a radio show. It's really like thinking about the future and the long-term possibilities. So, when you think about marketing and all of that stuff, and yeah.
Wow, sounds amazing.
That's
Okay.
great.
So like the reason why I wanted to have you both of y'all here is about I need to talk about a topic like the association, the OBNL in Quebec, in general, the province of Quebec, because like I think like there is a lot of issue, there is a lot of like there is a lot of things that we need to talk about it to make things better. Like we're gonna start with you. So actually, you're in charge with Gris Quebec. Are you the first black director in? Oh my
I'm the
God!
first. That's
Woo!
what I didn't realize at the beginning. Like I saw all the gris. On va dire les gris là en français là. On va dire les gris, but all like the gris, and I was like, were there other like black before? Like no. He's like no, but yeah, I'm the first president of the board of a gris.
Congrats.
And thank you. And you know what? I think this is important as people of color, trans people of color, black, indigenous, and people and racial, queer, and trans to understand that it took a long time, sometimes for us, to get into those organizations because there's a lack of acknowledgement of intersectionality, which make us sometimes that our space is not welcoming in the black community, is not welcoming in the queer community. And I want to also acknowledge, because it's important that I'm cis, like my pronouns is she and her, and I'm cis, and so I benefit from a privilege of being a cis person, and that we have also a lot of work to do to understand and to be conscious and to pay attention to our sister and brothers and non-binary trans peoples, and
But
especially people of color. So when I get into the organization, I was already involved in the board. But to be president, it's important representation, but getting more into representation. So not just putting a face of whatever color there and say, oh, okay, we have this one, congratulations, and then we go next. No, that we have to make sure that the policy that we make, the direction, the vision is intersectional. We have to understand also what can we do to make sure that to get include more people, because it's not just bring people of color into classes and say the story, say okay, goodbye, because they can also face violence also. So it's make sure to create some space. And this is a big step, but we have a lot of work to do.
Yes, definitely, because this is what I used to say. I say like in the association there is a lack of the representation. I cannot understand that we have an association for gays and there is no gay people in an association, like there is straight cis people who are running the association. So it's happening that they don't even know the real realities, because like I think like when you are running an OBNL you need to be front row. You need to know what's going on, you need to know the issue, you need to know what's going on, what solution, what can I bring. So I think it's more important that I don't a lot of OBNL was like, oh, I'm just gonna bring like a black just to make show like diversity,
Like the kind of tokenism.
exactly.
But then they bring somebody and they treat the employees like terribly, you know, like that happens so much where like they're like, okay, look, we're gonna bring black people into the organizations, and then they have black employees, but every time something happens it's always the black person's fault. Like the work environment is not safe for people of color in the first place, so then black people quit. And then it's like, okay, but like, you know, and they said, oh, we tried, but it's like, no, you didn't try, because it doesn't, you can hire people and bring in diversity and representation and whatever, but as long as you're not paying people well and respecting them and like giving them actual power in your organization.
And you cannot just bring people and not doing their own work by yourself. Like it's the same thing. Example for cis people say, oh, we want more trans people, we want more stuff, but they don't do the work. And so when they have microaggression, when they say something, and the trans person say, hey, what you're doing is harmful. I heard all the time that the stupid sentence of saying like, oh, but we're all from diversity. That doesn't mean nothing. If you say that doesn't mean nothing. Me coming from the diversity does not make me immune of saying some harmful stuff. So we have to do all the work together. And I think also when you say like because I want to acknowledge that I have someone in the executive director, like we said, like you're the director, you have a border, and sometimes it could be very stressful, but we have a good executive director, and we really supporting each other's. And for example, and how can I make that is also the representation, but make sure to create also space that addressed it. Like example, in Gris Québec, we have a project that we make a lot of portrait to represent black queer women, black trans women, and we sold the portrait from and the artist who doing it was really, really great. And the money was going to create une bourse pour les personnes racisées, noires, autochtones, queer et trans dans la ville de Québec if they have any project and stuff. So we have to do those type of initiatives. And even if and some people are like, well, but if there's a nobody, well, I better see nobody, but there's the money for them, instead of not giving enough money for these people. And another thing that I want to add, especially with the organization, is that there is black and indigenous organization. The thing that we need to acknowledge, like big organization like Gris Québec or Pride Québec or Pride Montreal and stuff, these big organization has more like ils ont pas une meilleure approche, mais ils peuvent mieux s'approcher nécessairement des subventions than other. Why? Because there's the lack of representation, there's a lack of... So we have also a lot of job to do to how can we also support other organization who doesn't have the same opportunities like us to getting the money to doing their own project.
Definitely.
And I think that we have to talk about it more, and it's more than just, oh, we're going to take black, indigenous and stuff in the border. Yeah. We have to do more. But I think we're more connected when you say that.
Yeah, and also like the first time when we met, I was talking about ATQ because you know when I just came in Montreal, I was like just searching what is the association, because I always wanted to involve like in an association, like to be part, because as a trans black who coming from Africa, I wanted like to just see like people like me that define as me, and then find solution together. And when before I saw the difference when you come and before, because there wasn't a lot of stuff going on the social media. Like I sent an email to ATQ and they take 2 months to answer me, and I think like it's unacceptable for an association for trans. Like, and I always say it's cool like to book me, because I'm drag queen, to book me and just pay me. But sometimes the most important, and I'm an activist, it is part of me, it is my identity. I think it's more like to approach the trans, because the reality of trans, you as a trans, means as a trans, we understand what we need, and we also understand how hard it is like to just be ourselves, like to be able to have like the hormones, to be able to do a lot of stuff. And I think like it's not about just, oh, we're gonna do a dinner, everybody gonna come and take. No, I think it's more important to sit
The potluck.
right.
bring a potluck. You want to bring your food and everybody is happy.
Exactly, like there is more things that matters. Like I see a lot of trans people, like they just come to me and they say, Miss Dupré, I want this, but nobody's here for me. Miss Dupré, who can I talk? Like a lot of people, even I don't work in organization, they always DMing me, or when they see me at the village, they approach me and say, Miss Dupré, what can we do about that? And I don't have like enough power to make this change. So you, as a new director of ATQ, like tell us, what is your plan? What do you want to do to make this change? Because we talk
That's
together.
a big question.
Yes. And I expect a big answer.
Yeah. It's very interesting that you said that I'm bringing like, fresh hair to the ATQ. And I have to say, like for now, I'm at the executive direction of the organization by interim. So I don't know what will happen in the next months, I feel sometimes like I don't deserve this title yet.
No. We're not doing this today. We're not gonna do imposter syndrome. We're not gonna do this today. No, but you deserve your place.
Yes.
Earn your place. And
Well, thank
interim
you.
is still a big job. So big congratulations.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really.
As a trans woman, you already have your place.
Right.
Exactly.
Period.
Exactly.
I'm saying that more in the sense that, even though I did volunteer work before, even when I was in Abitibi, like before coming in Montreal. So I know a bit like how organization how they work, and but I never worked. It's the first time I worked in a community organization, and then I have like the job of executive director. So, yeah, I do have the imposter syndrome, like you said. But what I think is interesting from you saying that I bring fresh hair to the ATQ is I feel like a lot of people from the trans and non-binary community, they associate the ATQ with older people, because for many years, I think it was operated by older people.
Definitely.
So I
it
think
was
younger
bad.
trans people.
It was bad. Like they
Right?
would kick people out of the room if they were non-binary or refused to disclose like the name of their doctors and their information. They were very racist, like calling black people the N-word sometimes and stuff
No
like
way.
that. Oh yeah, it was bad.
You know
bad,
when we
bad,
talk
Oh
about
my
intersectionality,
God.
it's like this. But
I'm sorry to hear that, and like I do want to present like my excuse for the ATQ. I was not there at the time, and I cannot be, I think, responsible in a sense of the past of the past of the organization, right? But I will try my best, and that's really my goal, to include everyone that's part of the gender diversity spectrum, and also from all different backgrounds, and so to have someone that's young, I want to say, at the executive direction of the ATQ, I feel like maybe our services will be more adapted to younger people also. I know organizations like what is it called? There are community organizations for LGBTQ plus people that's for youth, you know. But at the ATQ, we always said like everyone is welcome. At least I'm saying it now. Everyone is welcome. We want like everyone from yeah. We want everyone to work together, you know.
If I can say
Yes,
something,
of course.
you know, I can say something like I feel that sometimes there's a big pressure with big because let's there were also some problem in the past also in Quebec. Like so I think every big organization has their own skeleton.
Right.
And sometimes when we arrive and we're a part of the diversity, we have the whole pressure or try to solve all the problem for 20
true.
of 10 years ago. That doesn't mean that we need to invalidate because
Of
it
course.
was an issue.
Absolutely.
It was
It
an issue.
happened.
But I don't think we need to put all the pressure for us. We need like
Definitely.
to you know kind of a PR thing, but we have to say okay, those things happen.
A PR thing.
But those things happen, and now how can I do? Because you have also to protect yourself.
Yeah,
Definitely.
but
know?
of course we have to like acknowledge it and to work in order to make it better and make sure that nothing like that happens again, you know. I'm very conscious of that, and your question so was what is your plan for the ATQ?
But because like you are in the front row,
Right.
you know what's going on with the community. You know what we need. So like, I think you need to, as a director, like just to be able to find solution or like you know me Casper, Camille Esther, like any if you want help of any of us, we will be definitely here because it's about us. It's about making things better. You know. You know. Like I'm not afraid to go ask help. You know, when I went to Quebec and I have the panel of discussion, I was like, there was like, oh, I was like, we have need, and sometimes when I write email, when I talk to you, you don't need to wait me coming to you.
And not only that, not just for the Pride, like the whole year.
Exactly.
The whole year. Like now is Black History Month. What are you gonna do 1st March? Like June is Pride Month. What are you gonna do July 1st? You're gonna remove your queer logo? Like it's not. It's more than just signification. Yes, they need to be there, but just like you said, like I don't know why they had to reach you out because it's the Pride, and Pride is not just for fun. Like yeah, this is a appropriation and stuff, but it's more than just in the year.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. So this is what I used to say, like, it's okay to just kiki, tease, spell but like the most important is our lives. Like people outside are they don't have choice. You know, it's so hard to be a trans and to find a work.
Yeah, what it's important also to acknowledge is in most of privilege, when you talk about privilege and stuff, it's also acknowledged that there's some people in the queer communities that sometimes include myself have a privilege of having a job, having something to eat or something, but it's not just kiki because there's definitely systemic violence toward the queer community, which is finding houses, which is trying to find a job, violence that they face in their own, even in their own OBNL community. So it's important also to acknowledge those stuff and
Yeah.
make sure that
Definitely.
we stay-
Being able to have a job is also a privilege, you know.
Definitely.
What's that?
Being able to have a job is a privilege. Because for example, I don't have right now I'm like waiting for my PR, right? So I can't work. So this is like volunteer work, you know, that I'm doing. So it's like, just that, and like it's not just that can't work. It's like most organizations are straight up gonna tell me we can't help you. And the thing is, like, we're in Montreal, and it's a safe haven for queer migrants because, you know, so many of us come here because we come from places where we're not accepted and stuff, right? And then we come here, and every services is for people who have health insurance, for people who can change their name, for people like the services for trans people. Like, it's not why do I care? Because it's like, oh, we're gonna help citizens change their name, or people who have PR change their name. Oh, we're gonna help people get on hormones and all of that. But are you helping people who don't have health insurance? Are you helping people who can't change their name? Are you helping people? You're not. And the thing is, like, I've reached out to, for example, when I had to like pay for my lawyer to like do pay for my immigration and stuff. There's only one organization that helped me out, and it was Aztec, which is an organization that also focuses on sex workers.
They do great work.
Yeah, and they're so underfunded compared to a lot of big organizations. And I'm like,
so right.
It's like Agir and all those organizations that like really help people who don't get help anywhere else. And then it's not just that. For me, like, one thing that also like kind of like I've noticed with organizations and things like that, because it happened to me and it's happened to people I know. But Black trans people, we know how to look good. It's not a shade or nothing. We just know how to look good because we got no choice. You understand? Like, if I want to do good in life, I have to present myself a certain way. But because I present myself a certain way, people think I have money. People think I have all the help I need. And I've had straight up people tell me that they didn't want to book me because, but you good. You don't need the help.
Oh.
And I'm like, do you know my realities? Like, just because I know how to like buy my shit on AliExpress, doesn't mean.
There's another thing that when we talk about privilege, and I think I totally agree with you. But you talk about being able to have a job. You talk about, and I'm kind of laughing when you said we Black people have to look good, because I definitely changed my look. Like, I didn't come like this. I had my glasses. I didn't have to make up. I said I had to go to the washroom, and then I changed, and I put like one of the best outfits to make sure to look good, because I feel this is like, c'est comme instantané, because we don't want to have an attack because of our hair, of our color of skin, so we have like to look good, while we know there's straight white men absolutely miserable, can go on TV live and be absolutely shitty. And people are gonna believe them like this. So, but we have a lot of pressure. And I want to say, when you talk about the look good, I think we need to acknowledge the privilege of straight passing, which is something also that makes people have more facility to get a job, to get a promotion, or have anything to do in the workplace, or just like to find a house. So I feel like we need to have more conversation about privilege in our own communities, which is because it's gonna reduce lateral violence or ignorance from our own community like that. So when you talk about being able to have a job, I feel also like straight passing is it's a.
But that's so nuanced in the Black community too, right? Because it's like we don't have no choice, like, because that's the thing that I feel like. I'm non-binary, right? I can't. Every single white trans person I meet, oh, he, him, oh, sir, oh, bro, oh, dude, and then stuff. And I can wear makeup. I can wear like women's clothes, like, you know what I mean? And people will still be like, oh, you're the most aggressive, masculine, macho man that ever lived, And I feel like, that whole like, oh, if you're like part of the Black community, you're automatically masculine and aggressive and all of that. And for me, I remember one time, like, I went to like an event wearing something very femme, and I swear to God, I had a panic attack in the metro because I was like, I'm scared. Like, I don't know, Definitely. And it was something that like I feel with like, for example, when you think about like Black trans women, because you notice that like, Black trans women are gonna be like hyper feminine. A lot of people are like, oh, but you're hyper femme, whatever. It's like, but they got no choice. They got no choice in order to survive.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
We were talking. I was talking with Victoria with this, like the last time that I saw you, and I told you like a lot of people also we kind of have like we three like the kind of like the straight passing, Sometimes when people see me and they was like, oh, you trans, oh, you don't look like a trans, but honey, what is a trans?
And what does that mean?
What does that fucking mean? Like, what is the trans like? it's so wrong in so many levels because they think like, oh, if you are not too feminine and then you look like a girl, you're not a trans. Like, fuck that shit. Like, I'm so mad when people come to me and say, oh, when they say, oh, you're so beautiful for the black.
For who?
Like, oh my God.
The audacity.
When
Like
people are
the
like,
nerve.
your transition was so successful, and you're like, when I had an STM controller stop me in the metro the other day to be like, hey, I don't remember how I know the person, but I was like, oh my God, because like, cops, STM cops, same stuff, right? So he stops me and I'm like terrified. And he's like, oh, your transition went so well. And I was like, what the what?
But my issue is how the hell people feel comfortable to tell you that. They don't want to say you hi, but they're okay to say so many intrusive and personal stuff. So, and sometimes it just, it's not, I don't want to talk about it this day. Like, maybe it's something that you feel sometimes. So I'm just wondering, like, how sometimes can you, like, do you try to protect yourself? Is that happening, like, most of the time? Because I cannot understand it as a cis person. So...
Yeah, definitely. Like, they come and they say this and they think like, oh, they are saying great things. Like, you need to be, yes, no.
They think it's a compliment.
Exactly,
Yeah.
but it's not because, you are invalidate my other sister or brother because... Like, fuck that shit.
Yeah.
Like, I need people to stop. And also, the question that I just want to go to jail when people ask me, did you have bottom surgery? I swear, like, people are so comfortable in 2023. Am I asking you, like, what is in your pants?
You should see the messages I get on a daily basis.
why-
Oh my God.
But why it's like this? Like, why people feel so comfortable to asking you?
Because they think you transitioned for them. I think so. My theory is that like we talked about trans people being like trans people are in the wrong body, and that's been the narrative for a very long time. But if you're not in the right body, then whose body is it? It belongs to the public. It doesn't belong to you. So as soon as you tell them and you come here and you're like, this is not my body, I don't accept it, no, it becomes public domain. You know what I mean? That's what, as soon as you take a agency over your body and you're like, actually, I love this body. It's mine, respected at the same level. It creates a bit more of like, a distance between people and their questions, but it has to be the narrative that's like, the over narrative. But the thing is, like, for a very long time, the older trans people believe that being trans is a disease. It means that you have gender dysphoria and therefore you have to cure it, and the cure is passing as cis. And so cis people think that like our goal is to be them. So if they compliment us, if they want to have sex with us, if they show us any type of attention, we should be really grateful because it means we passed the test.
And also, it's important to understand that a lot of people who are queer and cis in the queer community can be violent too.
Oh, totally.
Like, but I think sometimes we need to be called out. It definitely, if we say some stuff that are problematic, and when you talk about it, it's really interesting because again, some people could say, but we are all from the LGBTQ communities, but it's not like that. There's some systemic oppression, there's privilege that come with, and I think that we, and you just to talk about the immigration, like the fact that being a citizen here makes you a lot of privilege. And privilege is not just gender, race, and orientation, it's more than that.
Totally, yeah.
Definitely. And, I think, like, it's a lot of problem. And when you need to deal with all of the stuff, or you need to go to work, you need to make your dreams come true, and then people outside, they're coming, and then they don't want to make you feel that you belong here, that it's just a match. So I think like the association who are here, it is their job because they're having the money of the government. Because
I love how you look at me. You have the money.
But that's true, because when I went to Ottawa, I went to ask like, I have like a huge meeting and there was entrepreneurs and all of the stuff. And I went and I say, what are you doing to the community, to the LGBTQ community? And they're looking right on me and they say, oh, the government giving this amount of money for the LGBTQ community. But where the fuck is the money?
Right.
Yeah, that's it. That's
Because
it.
we're still the fucking same since where is the money? What are they using this money for? Because like there is a lot of lack of services in Montreal and that's not okay.
I feel also that because I think that you understand too when you are in kind of a big organization, when you receive money, which is called subvention, which in French, they asking you some stuff. So they have kind of, I'm gonna say it in French, but quand tu reçois une subvention du gouvernement, le gouvernement demande des comptes à rendre. So sometimes there's a lot of organizations who want to do, if they can do it, they will do everything, but they have to make a coordination with what the government asking them from the subvention. So this is why sometimes, and this is how also sometimes like some organization play politics. I'm not talking about
That's
you, by the
right.
way. But
No,
some,
no,
but I
do
was looking at
agree.
you. But
I know how
sometimes,
it
and
works, yeah.
it's like you and I know I hate to say this, and I know some people will hate if I say it, but sometimes you have to play the game, and that's the issue because when you play the game, that means that your own situation that you want to do sometimes you have to do compromise and the more you get compromised the more some people are left behind and I know this is a not comfortable conversation to have because I know organizations come in the we only bienveillant nous sommes un but there's still this stuff that we go because if the organization doesn't want this money then where they gonna have other and most of the time OBNL are not private. Let's not talk about the private, please. Let's not talk about that. I think this is how it works and I don't know. Do you feel that sometimes that if when we are in an organization and we want to get more money and stuff, which is sometimes from the government or sometimes we depend on them, then some organizations like have to play the game. Like do you feel that in some way?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, one thing I realized at the ATQ since I'm there is I had this moment where I told myself like the ATQ was officially founded in 1980 and still to this day we have of course like during the past couple years it changed a bit and some people were working at DTQ and they left and all but like right now we are 3 employees and we exist since 1980 so like where is the funding and like how do we not have more employees, you know, and have more people helping our community in the street, you know?
And that's a job.
I'm trying to figure out like what to do. Where do I go seek the funding? Because, of course, we see like we know the needs of the community, and we want to work for the people that you know need our help in the community, but like. We cannot only want, you know, like even if we want it, someone needs to hand their hands, you know, and
also like the fact that you're three employees, like if I think in the organization of Quebec, well, 7 employees, but even 7 employees, we have to take all the money to get other because again in the dans le communautaire, in the communities, there's not an employee. And sometimes the employee get tiring. They get exhausted because there's so many work. And it's a lot of work, emotional labor, emotional stuff. Also, people receive a lot of stories from trauma and everything. So it could be like very difficult.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think also we need to address a message to the people that we are here for this because we need to make them hear what we have to say. Like ATQ, it's a Association Trans du Québec. Like, you know, the first thing when I came, it's like Googling, and this ATQ. I'm a trans.
Oh yeah, really? That's
so
nice.
I need to go there. So if I go there and I don't find any help or any something, it's not okay. You know, so we need to make something. We need to make things move. You know what I mean?
There's currently like at the organization, I think one of the first thing I have to do is to maybe like restructure the organization, like the employees, but also like there's a lot of movement on our board of directors, and we need to figure out why, and in order to be able to, the thing I want is to bring the ATQ somewhere else, you know, like with the big organizations, because
Yeah.
we have our place there, you know.
Definitely.
Yeah, sorry, I lost
But,
my
but,
idea.
but the border is also something, because I said for my team, I said there's nobody gonna come here just for saying, oh, I'm in the board. Because when you are in a board of an organization like this with so many sensible situations, so many sensible issues, you cannot just came here once a month, listen, and then go back home. There's implying some involvement, engagement in there. Involvement, even if in the border they are not paid, that we have to make sure that as which is director executive of president, to make a knowledge that if you are here in the board, you have to understand to do the work, to be involved, and to make sure that an organization can work, so we can get up and up and that level up and getting the work and giving the services that we need.
But how does that system work if people, because that's the thing, like for me, I find that's like very problematic in how organizations work, is that people on the board are not paid. Therefore, there's only a certain type of people who are going to be able to just want to be on the board because they have to be privileged enough to have enough money to pay rent.
I
and
like
then
you
do
because
free
you
work.
challenged me, right?
No, but it's real, because
No, but-
a lot of people don't have the privilege to be able to do free work, you know what I mean, or the unpaid work, and to be in the
Yeah,
boards,
of
you're doing a
course.
lot of unpaid work, and it's a lot of emotional labor. So you can't be too traumatized yourself. You need to have a step of stability in your life, which a lot of the people that those organizations are trying to help do not have. And whenever those people who have that privilege help, they do not know the realities, right? And so it happens that like then they think that, oh, this certain group of people needs help, but then they completely ignore other groups. For example, I don't know if you know, but if you're a trans man over 25 in Montreal, no homeless shelter will take you.
Oh.
You know, there's but not just homeless shelters.
definitely
There's
a
just
problem.
zero resources, like no resources, because if you're not under 25 or if you're like a trans man, they're like, oh, you're a man, you good, you know. But that goes for non-binary people who are masculine too, because a lot of services are for women and non-binary people. Therefore, like when I ask, like, okay, cool, can I come? They're like, actually, maybe not, you know. So it's like, but then the people who are on the board are not people who are like me. Therefore, they don't understand that, you know. I would like to be included sometimes, you know. And it's the same thing for like, yeah, for migrants, for people who are on the street, for people who, because also one of the thing, like, we gotta look good is like, another thing is like, I've seen homeless people be refused funding because they look like they have it together. And it's like, yeah, but I got no choice. Otherwise, I'm going to stay homeless forever. Like, you know what I mean? And so, but the thing is, people who are, you know, taking those decisions, they have an idea of what the homeless person looks like. They have an idea of what struggling looks like, and they don't understand the reality. And so what do you do to fix that system, you know?
And we were talking this also together. We were saying like there is shelter in Montreal, but there is no trans shelter. Like where is the like the, you know, when you are when you are in transitioning and then you went to shelter, because one of my trans sister told me that they say, oh, you cannot stay in the shelter of women because you're too manly, and then you're gonna make them uncomfortable. And I was like, what?
So even in some shelter who are reserved for, which is in the binary world, women and men, they even like say harmful stuff, and they make some violence to
Definitely.
even
Yeah.
toward this. And I totally agree with you about the free work and the stuff that. And what happens is, sometimes you get to an organization for XYZ, and you get in the board, and it's like all white man. Because and for me also, I was asking, I said why, but now I understand why, because these people from the privilege from the system, they benefit from a lot of stuff, so they can have a stable life, which is I'm doing my 9 to 5, or I have my business with what so many dollars I can have, and then I can do the free work to get engaged. So also, like, I think also is to find a balance to say, okay, yes, I work hard for this organization, but also acknowledge it's because I can do that, because I don't have to stress about other stuff, about the human base,
Definitely.
my human needs.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And you know, like like a lot of organizations ask me like if I do something for free or if I cannot
What, for free?
because
Oh,
I
yeah.
have
You need to
I
be
have a lot of
paid.
things. I have a lot of things going on. Like Miss Dupré is not Miss Dupré for free.
Listen, but I feel that, but is that happen also to you when you are part of the diversity? They approach you, and you're like, okay, but like it's okay, you can have me as a host of panelists, but how much? And they're like, but we are here for acknowledgement. They come back with that. I'm like, we're booked and busy. We don't have time like to do just something for free, and especially doing inflation. Like it's
No.
important to
It's
understand
not
that.
just free.
Yes.
If it doesn't pay my Uber and my meal, I'm actually paying to be there.
Exactly, that's the
And
thing.
I'm not paying for white people to listen to me talk.
Definitely. As
And
Beyonce.
the issue is that I feel also that even after the acknowledgement of everything that was going on with the Black Lives Matter, but well, we have to talk about it also in the Black communities. That's another stories, but there's a lot of that's another TED talk. But when we talk about when we talk about this, about tell me about your stories, I feel there's a fine line between yes, I'm gonna express my stories, and sometimes there's trauma porn. The line is so fragile
Yeah.
sometimes, and I'm like, I think it's important to look carefully about what the person wants, and especially where it's going, because it's a lot of exhausted that to go there to tell your story, and say thank you so much, goodbye. Like
And there's no help to, because that's also something that, like, another thing that bothers me is like, okay, cool. Now I'm not homeless anymore. I got a roof and I'm eating, okay? But who's going to help me thrive? Because that's another thing. It's like the only people who are getting help are also, and then there's no support for people like Miss Dupré who are trying to start her own business. But the thing is, like, all of that money, like all of those resources put into like investing into like Black trans owned businesses, and for example trans trenders, and Miss Dupré at Cosmetics, because I had to stop working with, like, I had to stop the labels activities when I lost my my work permit and stuff, and there's no help. And the thing is, like, so but if you don't give us support in order for us to thrive and to be able to be stable on our own and to be independent. And for me, that's it. Like, we need to be independent from those organizations. That's the goal, right? You keep people, you help them until they don't need you no more.
Yeah.
But right now, it's like all of a cycle of like keeping people close. So as soon as the organization leaves, there's no help anymore. Like, there's no help to get you past that level of
Definitely.
like, I'm eating now, but now I would like to be able to feed myself and not have you feed me constantly.
Definitely, and me also. When I went to meeting, when I meet entrepreneur, when I go to talk to people about my business, and I was explaining what I wanna do. Like, I explained, I have my numbers, I have everything, and it was like, oh, no problem, we are here to support. Okay. 2 days later, email, no answer. Call, no answer. I mean, hello, am I a joke to you? Like, seriously, sometimes it's just like I don't sometimes I'm just like, but why? I have an organization. I was like, okay, I'm doing a business. I wanted to do an event with you, and then we're gonna find resources. I'm gonna take part of the resource to do my business, and you're gonna take part for the association. And they say, fine, send me an email. I stay 1 hour to send them the email. It's been 2 months, no answer. And that's not okay. So I don't have choice to just go and fight for myself to just have what I deserve or what I want.
and also when you and it's kind of bring back when you present yourself, when you go where you want it, you have to look good. You really have to look good, and sometimes the more you get close to cis normativity or heteronormativity or straight normativity, then they will be more approaching to you. So this is why sometimes it could be very, very hard, and all the what, like all the classes and all the issue and struggle sometimes are not enough acknowledged from the people who are deciding or the people who are on the board.
But also there is a problem is that, as you say, I'm gonna help a little this person because I wanna keep them close. So when something has happened, I know where to go. So there is the problem is they want us to stay where we are because this is what advantage them. You know, that is also the problem of Aya Nakamura. Like the French, they don't love Aya Nakamura because why? She's a black woman who succeed and who is
You mean
Successful.
The Aya? I'm sorry.
yes,
Yeah.
Aya Nakamura, the
yeah,
singer.
Yeah, my
Yes.
God.
But that's the whole thing, is because but with trans people it's the same thing. I've noticed that we get a lot of hate as soon as we look good and we have ourselves together. Because it's like, oh, I'm cis and I can't look as good as you, or like I'm not as talented, and like you love yourself with that body. How dare you? You know what I
Right.
mean? And they kind of like, but that's how they feel. You know,
Right. Is that maybe an insecurity that they project? in
But that's
themselves?
Yes.
but it's I think all of the phobias and stuff is insecurity deep down, but that whole thing of like we have to keep trans people like in a state of like we're always kind of struggling. It's because you're not allowed to be trans and be more successful than I am. I'm gonna help you so I can make myself look good because I'm a hero and a savior and oh, such a great person. But don't be too good because we still want you to struggle more than us.
You know, it's
Exactly.
kind of, it's kind of ironic because I feel it in my own experience. I feel it more in the black community. That's another subject.
Oh, yeah.
But I feel it a lot in the black communities where I remember when we were in 2020s and there was all march for the Black Lives Matters, and the fact that there's many trans people, black trans women, black trans people who came to support in the name of George Floyd, but they have sometimes to be beside someone else who is very transphobic, that they don't feel safe in the place, and also to have that knowledge. And I remember when there was, I think in Montreal, the big they put that on the street, Black Lives Matters, and the matter they put it on color. And I see the comment, I was like, what the hell? Because people were so homophobic,
I
transphobic.
swear.
It was in
I
the village
was-
too.
I said in the comment, and they were like, but why did we put it in the
I
color?
swear.
And I heard, and I said, don't tell me, because they said, if we talk, I heard someone said, if we talk about LGBTQ, we divide the communities. Like, are we really dividing, or you just don't want to acknowledge your own homophobic?
But that's colonization. I feel like that's a whole other topic. Because by the way, there's
we need another hour.
yeah, because right now there's 3 minutes left. Just so
No
you know,
way.
I know.
Oh my God.
There's 3 minutes left, but you know, like.
But yeah, like
It's
like,
colonization.
as you said, you know, when they see like Instagram picture of Victoria, oh my God, look, Victoria is stunning. They're gonna write on comment and they're gonna say, oh, you're still a dude. I see. They tell it to Gabriel Marion. Gabriel Marion.
Yeah, that's right.
They send
Yeah.
him message. Oh, you still a man. You still a dude. Like why?
You look good, but deep down we all know blah, blah, blah.
Exactly. And
Like you said, see, like.
My favorite is when they tell me, "Oh, but you're not a man," and I'm like, "No, I'm non-binary actually." So.
And also, you know, when a friend of me went at club with their girlfriends and and there is the guy who see the girl and they was like, oh my God, she's so beautiful, and then she was coming talking to them, and then that make her friend jealous, and they go see the guy and they say, honey, she's a man.
This is so cool
Like,
to see.
oh my God.
That's
What they
not
don't-
friends,
the-
yo,
what they
kick
don't-
him, blah,
what,
blah.
what they don't realize is that it's violent
It
when you're
is.
doing that, because it invalidates your own identity of who you are, and this is not okay, and it shouldn't be, and it shouldn't be okay, and it should be normalized. It shouldn't be like that, you know.
Definitely.
And we don't, because that's the thing. We don't ask like to understand or to comprehend. We're just asking you to respect, and it seems very hard in 2023.
Definitely. So, unfortunately, I think we're gonna do a second part all together, like seriously. But this time it's gonna be in French because I want to Legault français.
On est au Québec ici.
On parle français.
Hey, come on.
Hey, c'est
Definitely.
impossible, tu retournes dans ton pays.
Aïe aïe!
But the second part should be like within the black community, like the big stuff. Well, anyway, you decide. You're the
Yeah,
queen.
definitely. So, Victoria,
Yes.
please tell us your ending word about what we just talked about the topic about the association. Tell us whatever you want. What?
I mean, it was very nice to have this platform to talk about our communities, and I learned a lot actually. Also, like it was really nice to hear you talk about your experiences, and I just want to say, like, if you leave, if you give me the permission to. Give like her phone number at the ATQ and all if some people might need it. I want to say we have a 24/7 helpline for trans, non-binary, and questioning people. It's 1-855-909-9038, extension 1, and it's toll free. So 24/7. And also we are on Facebook and Instagram. I'm trying to be more present on our
Yes,
social
I
media, like
see
you said.
it.
And yes, if people also have informations about transitioning, where to get like a letters about HRT, hormonal replacement therapy, or anything like that, they can contact us and we will help them as best as we can.
Perfect.
Like you said, I'm trying to make the delay shorter for the email.
Yeah.
And I have my colleague.
You got
Shade.
Thank you, thank you.
But you got this.
Thank you. My
got
colleague
this.
Kim is working a lot to only maintain like our basic services, you know. So we are doing all we can to help
Perfect.
our community.
Thank you so much for coming,
Thanks
and thank
to
you
you.
so
I was
much
very
for coming,
honored.
and then we're gonna have a lot of opportunities to work together
Of
and to
course.
talk. And I think like I used to say it takes a village to make the change, and we are the change. So last word
That's
for
right.
you, Camille Esther.
So I just want to say that no matter what you want to get involved or be involved, which is Gris or ITQ or anything else, I think it's important for ourselves to be acknowledged, to learn, unlearn, and relearn, and to do the work. And sometimes to always like be involved and to level up. And I encourage every person who is in the queer communities to not only like but to the queer community, but any communities, to be able to do the work and to be able also to acknowledge themselves and to never be afraid to learn and to never be afraid to unlearn and be able to relearn. So this is something that's really important, and I really appreciate the conversation. I feel really privileged to be beside a beautiful queen, my queen, and I'm really happy to meet you because really nice get to hear you unput, and I'm really happy
Definitely.
that you kind of challenging sometimes, but I'm okay with that. I kind of like it.
Thank you so much, Camille Esther, for coming.
Thank you,
I
sir.
really love your work. I really love you as a person, and I'm so privileged to have you as a friend. Definitely.
We got each other's back.
Exactly.
We gotta keep going.
Exactly.
We gotta
And
keep
I
going.
think like it's so important sometimes to just know that you have black sisters on your back, that whatever happened, whatever you do, whatever I'm doing, you are always here and you are always supporting, and it means so much to me. So thank you so much for being such a wonderful and
welcome.
amazing person.
And so am I.
And last word for you, Mr.
Oh
Casper.
my god, I don't know. I miss summer. That's my last word. So and also if you want to support trans people, or if you want to just like send us money, book us, hire us, pay us cash under the table. I never said that. Please cut that part. But nah, for real, like put your money into like the pockets of trans creatives and trans artists and stuff, because I feel like there's also a big focus on the community into backing people who do academic work and completely forgetting the creatives and putting all of the energy into criticizing transphobic creatives instead. And so I feel like the same amount of energy that people put into, for example, bashing people who play the Harry Potter game, put that same amount of energy into funding trans creatives and people who can actually write stories where trans people are well represented, because like we deserve to also like be uplifted in our own communities, which doesn't happen often, sadly. And so like yeah.
Preach. And in those words, thank you so much for listening us. That was You Better with Miss Dupré Latour. So you can see this content on my YouTube channel, on Spotify, and don't hesitate to go on each of my guests today. Follow them. They are so inspiration. And yeah, bye.
Bye.